doing another episode of The Desk. Welcome to The Desk, Bookshelf Speaker Reviews. I have a playlist called The Desk, Bookshelf Speaker Reviews. So if you want to see all the bookshelf speakers that I've reviewed so far on The Desk, check out that playlist. This is the first episode ever that I have featured some bookshelves on The Desk sent by a manufacturer. Edifier sent these speakers out to me to review. These are the 1700BTs. They are powered bookshelf speakers. This is the first powered bookshelf speaker on the review channel as well. And I've been listening to them for a week now. I'm going to come out and say it that I am impressed by the sound that you get out of these speakers for two reasons. One is because they're small, so you don't expect much and you get a lot. And then they're only 66 watts. But they have really smooth and present mid-range, and they get really loud. So, as we do always on this review channel, we just play random songs and we talk about them together. So let's play a random song and then we'll talk about it together. Let's go. I just continue to be impressed with the mid-range. It's so good. And the drivers inside these speakers are not big whatsoever. If you haven't seen the unboxing and overview video, that was my last video that I did. Go watch that because I go through the specs and everything. These speakers aren't big whatsoever, but they have such a full body sound. Now, of course, they're not full range, but their mid bass is so clean and tight that it really impresses anybody who listens to them. And that's probably the most impressive part about these speakers is their mid bass, because it's not a big speaker. They're front ported. It doesn't cost you a lot of money, and you get a really good sound. So in the video, let me find the remote. Here we go. So in the overview video, we talked about this little button here. On the remote, if it focuses for me, this little middle button has on and off right here. That little 3 lines Wi-Fi type signal is like a sound level equalizer type thing, sound parameter. You can turn it on or off, and it changes the characteristics of the sound just a little bit. And if you keep it off, which is by default, if it's off, you have a really good sound. Really good sound. If you turn it on, what it does to the sound is it seems to boost the treble or the higher ranges. It seems like it's kind of like a loudness button. If you're familiar with car audio, a lot of head units have a loudness feature that I think makes it easier to get details when you're listening at lower volumes, but of course you can use it at any volume, and it seems to boost the treble range up a little bit. Now it's funny because there are dedicated bass and treble knobs on the side of the powered speaker, the right speaker, but you can kind of press the on and off button and it seems to not really affect the bass or the mid bass too much, but more the higher register. And I've been flipping it back and forth and I can't really decide which one I like best. I kind of favor having it off because it kind of keeps all the frequencies normalized, more flat in my listening. But if you turn it on, it does excite the sound a little bit too, so it's kind of more a preference. I'm gonna click another random song here. We've done this song before on a lot of speakers. I'm gonna let this play and talk. This song has a lot of like really smooth mid-range tones to it, and this speaker does really well with that mid-range tones. I cannot stop talking about how good the mid-bass is on this speaker with how controlled it sounds, and it doesn't overpower. A lot of small, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. A lot of small bookshelf speakers, their problem is that because they're small, they have an EQ curve that kind of looks like this, right? So you have a little bit of low-end bass, a lot of mid-range, and then a little bit of treble. Or you have this kind of curve, where you have that smiley face curve, where you have a lot of bass, mid-range sucks, and then you have a lot of treble. This is more linear than not, in my personal opinion. The mid bass is smooth, but it's not bloated. It doesn't overtake the rest of the sounds, and it's really tasteful. So is the high end. Now, they don't reach like sky high frequencies up there. They're airy enough where they're pleasing to listen to, but by no means will you ever be fatigued by these speakers. And the reason why the treble is kind of tapered off a little bit is because they're probably meant to be near field speakers. You're probably going to put them on a desk and sit right in front of them. So you don't want to have blistering treble aiming at your ears. And so Edifier knows that, and it's a really tame treble. I actually have the treble and the bass to max on the knobs, and it's really pleasing and blended sound regardless. And I have the levelizer on right now, and so it's a really pretty sound. I'm going to continue to play that same song and just see what it does. Yeah, it's a really pretty sound. I'm going to play something else now. Now, no speaker is perfect no matter how much money you spend on it, and one of the imperfections that this system has is its spaciousness. Now, my speakers are probably arm's length away. I am 5'8", so I don't have a long wingspan, and they're about that far away. And it's about that far you're going to want to have them to get a wide stereo image. They don't have like the biggest wall of sound compared to some speakers like Yamaha's. I can't remember the S803s, I think they are, something like that. They're small bookshelves. They don't have as huge of a sound as some of the other smaller bookshelves that I've listened to. The sound is pretty good and pretty wide and pretty tall, but you have to really space them out to give yourself that sensation. So if you have a small desk and they're going to be really close to each other, you're not going to get that huge presence of sound. But if you have a bigger desk like mine, my desk is like 6-7 feet long, you can actually spread these out and get a really big presence that way. You have to toe them in my personal opinion, to get the best sound. But that's one thing that I've noticed listening to them for a little bit. Now, vocals are really clear. I do like what they've done to the upper tones, the treble, where the voices lie. Really forward, pretty good sound, all things considered. And if you guys go and click the link down below, you'll see the price tag of these. They are not expensive whatsoever. And I think they're a solid bang for your buck. You don't have to use them on a desk like this in a PC type setup. You can use them for a dedicated 2-channel music. You can put them on an entertainment stand with a record player and be very happy. And they're 66 watts RMS. That's plenty of power for pretty good listeners out there, pretty good listening in general. You're gonna like a lot of music on these speakers, in my personal opinion. I'll click one more. Again, these are just random songs. I don't know nothing about them, but I'm gonna click just something that looks interesting. This one looks interesting. I'll let this keep playing out as we end the video. This song here, it's a piano, obviously. We're kind of in the middle ranges, C4, C3, kind of in the middle of the piano's range. And this is where you start to hear that roll off and treble. Of course, you know, Edifier thinks you're gonna probably sit pretty close to these. It's gonna be a near field speaker for most, so it doesn't want to pump a lot of treble, but it's songs like this that expose its lack of range. It doesn't reach very high. You're not gonna get an airy floating sound with these speakers. That's just not the price point that they're in. It does sound good, but it's songs like this where you wish they had a little more higher register so that these things kind of floated in the air a little bit longer. So it doesn't linger in the air the way that some of the other speakers of this size have. Example, the Yamaha's that I reviewed in a video if you want to watch that. So, but solid speaker. I'll go ahead and pause that. solid speaker. I'm absolutely happy with these. If anybody's looking for any Edifier products in general, I highly recommend them because I've had a few Edifier systems on the channel before long ago, and I remember being really impressed by them, and I'm impressed by these too because the price point is great, the size is excellent, they have many different finishes of speakers, they have many different models of speakers, so there's something out there for you, and at the end of the day, they sound really good, and that's the key. If the speaker doesn't sound good, then what are we doing here? If you're gonna listen to something, at least have it sound good nonetheless. So, and I think these do sound good. So with that being said, I will put a link down below in the description box for you guys to check out not only the 1700 BTs, but any of their speakers on their website. And again, huge shout out to Edifier for sending these out to review. We don't know each other. I wasn't told to say anything specifically about these speakers, so it was up to me what I wanted to say, and they took that risk, and luckily for them, I have good things to say. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that playlist down below called The Desk, where I've done multiple bookshelf speakers, very expensive, down to $70 speakers. Take a look at that playlist. It's a very fun playlist, and I hope you guys are subscribed too if you're not already. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. K-Base Guy out. Peace.
You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.